Do you want to live in Clark County, Washington, and you want to live on or near a body of water? This video is for you. Hey, welcome back to the Living in Vancouver and Camas, Washington YouTube channel. I'm your host, Hannah Dubyne, and I'm so glad you guys are here today because we're talking about living on or near the water in Clark County. So if this is something that you're interested in, this is the perfect video for you. Now, I will preface by saying we don't have a ton of bodies of water that you can live on or near in Clark County. So if that's what you are moving for, I would suggest you move to Florida or somewhere else where there's tons of beaches. But if you're already planning on moving to Clark County or moving within Clark County and you want to be near the water, then this is all the information that you need. Believe it or not, we only have 3 big bodies of water that have a significant number of homes around them, enough that I could talk about in a video. So I'm just gonna go through these 3 and that's gonna be everything. You guys are gonna be experts by the end of this. So the first and the most significant body of water in Clark County is gonna be the Columbia River. If you've never seen the Columbia River in person and you're from somewhere where you don't have rivers, you don't have big bodies of water, this is a really nice wide river that you can boat on and go do activities on, and it's beautiful. The south part of Vancouver lines the Columbia River, and we call this Evergreen Highway because the road that's on it is Old Evergreen Highway. So if you live in Evergreen Highway area, you are as close as it possibly gets to the Columbia River. Evergreen Highway is an old established part of the city. Residential homes run from about Marine Park all the way to Camas, but the nice part of Evergreen Highway goes from about Marine Park to the 164th Avenue exit. I've had clients who wanted to look for homes down here before, and one of the things you need to know is that you're close to the airport. So Portland International Airport, for a lot of these people, you can see it out of their window because it's on the other side of the river. So if you don't want to be in the flight path, you don't want to see planes, you don't want to hear planes, don't live here. You're not going to be able to avoid it. Homes on Evergreen Highway are going to start at about $800,000 for a home that has somewhat of a view. And when I say somewhat of a view, I just mean like a little peeking out from a certain corner, not a spectacular view. So those kind of views are going to start at $800,000 up to about 1.3, 1.4 million. In that range, you can get kind of a normal home. It's not going to be anything crazy, super luxury. It's not going to have the best view in the world. Then once you get above 1.3, 1.4 million, to $3 million, you're gonna be in the luxury bread and butter price range. There are so many different types of homes down here. There are little neighborhoods, many of them are gated, but it really is a mixed bag because the land has been sold off over time. So there are some estates that are huge and old, they were built in the 80s and the 90s, and then there are some new homes that were built within the last 10 years that are super modern, and they're all mixed in with each other. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. The homes in this price range, mid 1 millions to 3 million, they're gonna get you nice views and luxury amenities, and you're really gonna have all your options open up down there. Now, if you would like waterfront access, there are a couple different options. There are some neighborhoods down there that have waterfront easements collectively. So, you're in a neighborhood and everyone in that neighborhood has access to that little piece of beach. You can find that in the mid 1 millions to 3 million range for sure. Steamboat Landing is one that comes to mind. That's, I think, the biggest down there. So that's a great option for a more reasonably priced home that's gonna have access to the river. But if you want your own private access to the river, that's extremely rare. I would say less than 30 homes have that here. So if that is what you're looking for a high-end luxury estate that's gonna put you in the $3 million plus mark. The other thing you need to know about living in the Evergreen Highway area is that you live parallel to State Route 14, so Highway 14. That is one of our main freeways. There's traffic there all the time. So if you live between 14 and Evergreen Highway, it's gonna be pretty loud, okay? A lot of those homes have extra insulation, but just something to be mindful of if you're looking online. Now, if you live south of Evergreen Highway, between Evergreen Highway and the Columbia, those homes are more expensive. That's more premium land. You're gonna get a better view and you're gonna be further away from the freeway. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, that's pretty much it. That's everything you need to know about Evergreen Highway living. The next body of water I want to talk about is Vancouver Lake. I've talked about Vancouver Lake a little bit, and Vancouver Lake is not a lake that you swim in or really do recreational things in. It's always got problems with the algae in the water and whatnot. So if you want to swim, if you want to boat, you usually go to the Columbia River instead. But there are still a few homes around Vancouver Lake that touch the lake or look over the lake. However, most of the land around Vancouver Lake is protected, or it's owned by, some of it's owned by Washington State, some of it's owned by like Clark County Parks, there's trails around it. There is only one neighborhood I know of that actually touches the lake and has lake access. This neighborhood is called the Cove. It's small, it's like 30-ish homes. It's just one little circle. It's gated. The homes were finished just a couple years ago, so they are on the newer side, and there are things there that are, you know, reasonably priced, kind of bread and butter, $600,000, and then there are some higher end luxury ones there that would run in the mid $1 million price range. The thing to know about this neighborhood is that it does back to the train tracks, so you get the train going by. They did build with extra insulation in that neighborhood, but it is something to note. There are only 5 or 6 homes in that neighborhood that have a view of the water, but all of the homes in that neighborhood are able to access the water and go down. You know, you can kayak on it and sit on the beach with your chair. There's also a townhouse development called Lakeshore Hills that runs on Lakeshore Ave that overlooks the water. So if you're looking for an unobstructed water view, that is a great option. They are townhouses, so it's not single family, and they were built in the 70s. So a lot of those are outdated. But if you're looking for a project or you're okay with an older home, that might be a good fit for you. And besides that, the only other homes we have that are really taking advantage of the views of Vancouver Lake would be up in the Lakeshore area or Philida, and that's only select homes, right? They've got to be positioned just right to get a view of the lake. I would say less than 100, 150 homes have actual good, significant views of the lake, but you can find them if you want them. Okay, the very last body of water we're going to talk about today is Lacamas Lake. Lacamas Lake is located in Camas. It's a beautiful lake. It's very small. You can boat on it, you can swim in it. It does have algae problems as well, but most of the time I see people boating, jet skis, or kayaks on Lacamas Lake. There are only 2 neighborhoods that touch Lacamas Lake, and I'm pretty sure it's only ever going to stay that way. I doubt any other neighborhood will have easement access to Lacamas Lake. The first and most notable neighborhood is Lacamas Shores. I've talked about Lacamas Shores quite a bit. Lacamas Shores was kind of the OG nice neighborhood in Camas. It was built in the 80s and the 90s for the most part. These homes are, some of them are very unsuspectingly large, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 square feet. And many of them are outdated since they were built back in the day. There are some new ones sprinkled in there, and there is a private boat launch if you do live in the Lacamas Shores neighborhood. So that is an awesome thing. And then you're just minutes away from Heritage Park Trail where you can walk on the south shore of Lacamas Lake. And in addition, many of these homes have beautiful unobstructed views of the lake. So that's one of the things that the residents really enjoy living there. The other neighborhood is called Lacamas Cove Estates. It's much smaller than Lacamas Shores. It's maybe a dozen homes, 15 homes, and it's just kind of tucked in this corner. I actually only learned about it a little bit ago because it's kind of like a little secret. These homes are nowhere near as high-end, luxury, or large as Lacamas Shores. These are more traditional family homes, something more affordable. I think the highest sales price there's ever been has been about $1 million versus Lacamas Shores. Homes start at $1 million there these days. You can't find anything for under that. And the Lacamas Cove Estates neighborhood does have an easement access to the lake. However, I have almost never seen anything come for sale there since it's so small. Really, no other neighborhoods have a good unobstructed view of Lacamas Lake. These are the only 2. In my North Shore development video about Camas, I talked a little bit about the city of Camas's plans over the next couple decades to develop the entire North Shore of Lacamas Lake. They will be turning the area into neighborhoods and commercial buildings and schools and all of that good stuff. So I'm sure some of the homes that are built there will end up having views, but none of them will end up having lake access. Those are the only 2 neighborhoods. Those are the main 3 bodies of water that you're going to be able to live on or near and get a view of or have access to. Other than that, you could live, you know, out in the boonies in maybe Kalama or something. And if you're way up on the hill, positioned just right, you can get a view of the Columbia River. Or you could live, well, you can't really live there. I know Lake Merwin, which is kind of up in the northeast corner of Clark County, has some cabins up there. I don't think you want to live in a cabin. Those ones aren't really made to be full-time houses. But if you want like a vacation house, that's a good option. And those are your options for waterfront living here in Clark County. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it was helpful. If you're interested in moving to Vancouver, Camas, or Clark County, Washington, myself and my team at Dubyne Realty Group would love to be of service to you. So text us, DM us on Instagram, shoot us an email, and we would love to help you with a strategic plan. Also sign up for our weekend events email, Weekend Happenings with Hannah, where we post the best 3 to 5 events happening every single weekend. We handwrite it. It is not canned at all. So we'll put that link down below, and we'll see you next week.